Are the Rockets guys the biggest threat to the Warriors? And I'm going to start with you.
Go ahead, lay it
you
on me.
think
I got to discuss something.
Go ahead and lay it on me.
He showed Kyrie something last night. I'm in MVP race,
game,
you know.
Give me your
We'll
point.
take Kyrie over there, man. Come on, okay. All seriousness. Okay, all seriousness. We're going to put the Lakers there. And obviously, I know the Rockets are hot. I know LeBron is hurt, and I know that might miss a couple eyes. They may not be believing in the Lakers as you should, but you got to understand when it comes to the playoffs, you got to match up with LeBron James. And right now, even as I'm looking at the Golden State Warriors, one thing LeBron James does well, he finishes in the paint. He play makes. That's what makes him special. And when you have success guarding LeBron James, it's not just rim protection. It means you got 4 and 5 guys and bodies that you can throw at him. When I look at Houston, they don't match up with LeBron. And their wing defenders, although they got better on the defensive end of the floor, they're still young guys. Those are two-way guys you expect to throw into the playoffs to guard LeBron James. This is also a team with guys who are going to look better in the playoffs. Playoff Rondo, playoff Lance Stevenson, playoff Jamel McGee, Strumman, playoff Tyson Chandler. So, and I also expect the Lakers to make another move before the playoffs. So, by far, if you can't tell me that the Lakers are not the biggest threat to the Warriors, what you talking about?
There's also another team, the Rockets, that could make another move. And I do think that there are a lot of teams in the West that are on the rise. You can add in the Nuggets to that mix. But if you look at this game yesterday,
they not challenging. They cool, but they not challenging.
That was a huge reminder. That was a message throughout the league. James Harden is playing better than his MVP season. He gave you 45. Eric Gordon held it down without Chris Paul, gave you 20 points, knocked down his shot from deep. Nene has been huge, providing a boost off the bench that adds their depth, but also their defense and rim protection when Clint Capella has been out. And by the way, Austin Rivers, he's been a nice little snap for them as well. He looked comfortable. Yeah. But speaking of Clint Capella, we're not giving this man enough love. He gave you 24 and 18. He's been giving you 20 games as of late. He is the real X factor here with the Rockets, because if he is dragging the defenses to the rim and finishing over 60%, that allows James Harden, the beard, to go to work. So when I look at this Rockets team, I'm like, okay, we're not going to absolve you from the issues you had the first 20 games of the season, but this is a team that still has potential. And when they factor in getting Chris Paul back, they're another team that you can count on to be contenders. They have issues with consistency, but James Harden has been on another level as of late. We have yet to write the books on their season.
I'm going to go with the OKC Thunder.
I'm
going to go with the Oklahoma City Thunder. I think, number one, they have the best defense in the league right now. The way that we saw last year, the one thing the Warriors did with the OKC Thunder, they just pick and roll Melo to death. I mean, literally, he was just a liability on the perimeter. Now that Melo's not there, what you've seen on the perimeter is they've been really strong and really tight. They got scoring. Paul George, it seemed like he's got his groove.
He's having a career year.
He's having a career year. Yep. You know, Russell Westbrook, he's a walking triple double. But I think when they get Andre Robinson back, okay, when he comes back, that's another elite perimeter defender on the outside who can spell Paul George from guarding the opponent's best player on the perimeter, which will make him more fresh offensively. So when you look at the guys that they have on their roster, I think OKC could be a team.
There, Woody. Ball movement. I like what they're doing during the year. I like the stars that they have, but in the playoffs, their offense gets really stagnant. I like the way they beefed up their roster. Dennis Schroeder is doing his thing. Nerlens Noel has spelled Steven Adams because they didn't have another shot blocker on roster. Jerrigan Grant, he's knocking down three-pointers, but they don't move the ball. They get stagnant. And in the NBA, if you want to get to a contender type of level, you got to move the basketball around. You got to share it. You got to trust. You can't win with hero ball. And even though my heart's in OKC, PG-13, that's my dog. Russ, that's little brother. Those are my guys. Don't get me wrong, but I don't trust their ball movement and that they're going to believe in what Billy Donovan's actually asking them to do on the floor in the postseason. Woody, I'm just not rolling. I'm sorry. Or the Rockets either.
That stare, man. That stare he gives you.
I'm just saying, Woody.
I'm a big believer in defense in the postseason. I understand the ball movement, and they still have time to figure it out. But when you can play elite defense on the perimeter, which OKC has been playing during this season, I think they can figure out some of the other things offensively.
They're better than they were when they lost to Utah. Defensively, they're together. They're a more complete team. But the problem is, You don't win with defense in the NBA anymore. You don't win with just 1 star, 2 stars, and you take your shot, I take my shot. Oklahoma City should have learned that lesson. It hasn't worked like that. You got to pop the ball around the horn. If you hadn't learned anything from Golden State, if you hadn't learned anything from LeBron, from even the Rockets within their successes, the ball moves, or you got a guy who can get the ball in his hands, play, make it, move it around. And we got to trust Russ in those situations. I love him, but he's got to show it to me there.
I think defense does matter, though, and especially in the playoffs, because if you look at this OKC team, number 1 in steals right now is Russell Westbrook. Number 3 is Paul George. Their defense has been contagious, and I think that's the reason why they'll be competitive. The reason why the Warriors are faltering is largely because they have lack of rim protection.
Yep.
They're losing because their defense is not the same Warriors defense that got them the back-to-back championships. And the reason why the Rockets really started the year poorly was because they had absolutely no defense and no depth. So defense is a key factor. Offense will win you games, but it can't carry you through an entire season.
You got to be capable. Don't get me wrong. When the Warriors became good, when the Warriors became the Warriors, they defended. They got after you. And obviously, it was their offense, but they were capable enough to throw bodies at you. They made it hard. And when they went to that small lineup, they swarmed you. They moved. They have fresh young legs. And now they're getting a little older, but LeBron got them young boys behind them and a couple of vets, all right?